Chapter 7. Time to leave. Val ran down a long hall to the nearest stairwell and kept going like this, running down another hall and another stairwell and so on. Dirk was entering a hall several floors below, finally escaping the lower part of the dungeon. He proceeded to venture onward through the long hallway. Dirk opened the door into the stairwell and headed up to the next floor. Once there, he proceeded to travel down the next hall and entered the stairwell and went up another floor. So, the way this looked was that Val and Dirk were doing the same thing exactly right down to a T, only Dirk was starting from the basement and was going up, whereas Val was heading down. Entering the next hall, Val charged straight down the passageway. At the opposite end of this hall, a large behemoth-like guy with his arms outstretched was running towards him at a fantastic speed. This guy was wearing nothing but a lab coat, seriously, only a lab coat, with his bait and tackle trailing in the wind. Val moved into a stance, allowing for a Koroth school of anything-goes martial arts style somersault, flipping right over his arm to continue onward. The search for Dirk was more important than some naked guy in a coat trying to run him down. Dirk skidded to a halt, turning around in recognition of that maneuver, one he'd seen many times, even done himself. Heck, he practically invented the dang thing. "Val, is that you?" he shouted at the trailing figure as he skidded to a stop in the recognition of his name. "Dirk? Val? Dirk? Val?" In unison. "Where have you been?" "Me? Where have you been?" "Well, I've just been beaten and thrown from a window 5 stories down, right into a torture chamber," Dirk said. "Well, I had to fake a seizure, swiped some food, helped cook some soup, found a uniform, and there was this really hot nurse that I put the moves on. But yeah, she told me where you were, and so here we are." Val took a moment to catch his breath. "So why are you naked under that coat there? And what happened to all your hair?" "Yeah, well, I bathed in fire, curing red-hot fire. Oddest experience I've ever had. I ate a feather, seriously a feather." Val just stared blankly at Dirk. "Yes, a feather." The two then continued on and proceeded for the only exit they knew, the courtyard. Val gave a push on the main door that the two had been led through when they first arrived. Pausing, Val turned back to Dirk with a worried look. "I don't think we want to go this way." "Yeah, why not? There can't be that many of them. We're ready this time. Let's do this," Dirk said as he psyched himself up, raring for battle. "Dirk, there's got to be several divisions out there, maybe even the whole army. We have to come up with a plan. And for all the gold in the city, can you please put some pants on?" "What? None of the guards we knocked out were my size. They're all too short. I swear these people are all dwarves around here." Leaning beside Val, Dirk took a look at the courtyard and let out a long but quiet whistle. "Well, how about this for a plan? We both have a getup. You be a guard, I'll be a doctor. We sneak right on out there, right past all of them. They'll never suspect a thing. First things first, Dirk, we need to get you some pants. Otherwise, you'll never fit in." Val handed his bow and quiver over to Dirk and pointed to a small crowd off to the side that looked to be just chatting it up and slacking off for the most part. "So anyone in that group look like your height?" Dirk peered at the group, his enhanced elven vision cutting through the many soldiers. Nope, no one in that group. But the small squad moved closer to that turret structure. "There's a soldier that looks to be just my size." Val squinted his eyes, trying to pick out the person Dirk was referring to, but wasn't able to see him. "Well, I'll just take your word for it." With that, Val strode out into the crowds of training soldiers. Taking his sweet time, Val made his course all the way across the courtyard and finally came to the group that Dirk had spotted from the other side. It was obvious to him who his brother had singled out. The soldier stood almost equal height to Dirk with maybe even more muscle. "Hey, Muscles, you're needed back in the dungeon. Trouble with some unruly inmate said they need some muscle." Trouble. Oh, I live for trouble. The muscle-bound freak towered over Val, flexing his biceps, just looking at him all rubbernecked. You going to start your way over? Lead the way, my little staff sergeant. Oh, okay then. With that, Val led the way towards the dungeon door, where Dirk awaited. Unfortunately, before he could make it more than halfway, a soldier approached the two of them. Halt, Staff Sergeant. Explain yourself. Where are you taking one of my men? The lumbering oaf that trailed behind Val stood like a stone wall at attention awaiting orders. Val had to think fast. It hurt. Yes, orders. Yes, I'm under orders to take Muscles here back to the dungeon in order to restrain a prisoner for further interrogation. Val had to resist the urge to wipe sweat from his brow. Orders? The soldier of evident higher rank questioned. From whom? Who gave you these orders? West. Captain West gave the orders, sir. Val gave a quick salute, using the move to catch the bead of water that was trickling down his nose. West, of course. Captain West is always ordering around those that aren't under his command. He fancies himself as a brigadier general. Resume your orders, he said as he turned to walk away. I'll see to it that West knows his rank and place. Sir, yes, sir. Muscles gave a final salute and turned his attention back to Val. Double time it. We're on a tight schedule, soldier. Val barked, trying his best to give an impression of Captain West. The two made it back to the door without further interruptions. As they entered the hall where Dirk was standing over several bodies, Val stopped in a heartbeat. Just what the hell happened while I was fetching Muscles here? It looked to Val that his brother was a little busy while he was out. There were 6 men on the ground. All of them looked to be breathing, but just barely. It's about time you showed up. I was starting to worry that you took off and left me behind. Hey, you, what's going on here? Muscles asked, gripped with confusion. Oh, let me guess, you're confused. Want a hot dog? Dirk asked as he pushed aside one of the bodies of a fallen guard he had just finished disabling. How did you know? He inquired in even more confusion. Oh, it's simple pea-brain, Val said from behind. It's more common than people think. People get confused, and they want hot dogs. Val leaped into the air, still behind the towering behemoth who was actually too dumbfounded to react at that instant, spinning with a shout. Timber. Val slammed his knee into the back of Meat Machine's cranium. His expression changed from to awe, but Dirk wasn't going to wait for the paint to dry. In a quick charge, Dirk lunged low, straight into the poor sap's shanks, falling like a great tree in a forest felled by one tremendous swing of a very large axe, the blows splintering wood up and down the trunk. A final crash could be heard by the 2 lumberjacks as the mighty tree crashed down on the trees below it. Now that has got to hurt, Val exclaimed as he rummaged through the guard's possessions one by one, looking for anything valuable. Yeah, I think I heard his bones crack as we took him down. Hey Val, don't you think they'll need all that money to pay off their medical expenses? Have a heart, man. Val shrugged his shoulders. Nah. Their healthcare will cover it. It's all just spoils of war now. No worries, bro. Dirk shrugged as well, as he slipped on the newly acquired pair of pants. Pausing as he tightened his belt, Dirk motioned to Val, someone's coming. Get behind the door.